Morning, Beth. I was thinking this morning, I woke up to the ABBA song, If You Change Your Mind, I'm a First in Line, Take a
Oh,
Chance on Me. And I know you love that movie and all of the soundtrack and so forth, and was thinking about weddings and was thinking about sometimes almost the runaway bride too, like how some people can get to the altar and then realize, oh my gosh, this is not the guy I want to marry, or this is not the gal I want to marry, and how we change our mind. And it can be really messy. It can be really disruptive. But what is it saying and how is it playing out in our lives when we change something, when we come all the way up to the altar, like the 12th hour, right? And make a major decision that is going to alter our life.
well, first of all, yes, I love ABBA, especially Dancing Queen, but that's not relevant to our talk today. I love that. If you change your mind. So many people, including me at times, are so afraid to change our mind because, oh, if we make this decision, then we have to stick to it. So then all of a sudden it's hard to make decisions because then you're gonna be stuck in it. You're not stuck in anything, and you can change your mind at the last minute. And I know people that have gotten married and gone on their, gone through the wedding, gone on their honeymoon, and they knew at the wedding or they knew at the honeymoon they made a mistake.
Mhm.
Now they knew before, they just couldn't do it, or they couldn't see the red flags, or they weren't visible to them. They were too involved in something else. So, and my feeling is, what's important is that you get onto it. It's never too late to change your mind, and it's never too late to heal, because it's all healing going on. And
Mhm.
changing your mind is messy, and healing is messy. And very often, when we change our mind, we're saying, no, 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 wait, hold on. This is not right for me. And 9 out of 10 times, that's loving yourself and honoring yourself, and actually healing for you, that is going to be going on. Going to be messy. People are going to have reactions. They're going to get disappointed and angry. I paid for this whole wedding, like whatever it is, or how could you do that to me? But it's when we get onto it, it's not as important as that we get onto it. And then next time we do better. And next
Mhm.
time maybe we see the red flag that maybe we missed, didn't see, or maybe we just ran right by it because we were moving too fast.
I think what you're talking so much about is honoring our authentic self, honoring our true self. And we know when we have this little inner voice talking to us saying, no, 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 no. But why do we override it so much in life? It's our conditioning or our obligation, or it's society. It's like we are feel like we are committed to it and we can't make a change because that's just not done. But when we don't honor it, then like you were saying, you end up 2 weeks later, maybe you're heading for divorce with that in that relationship. But what it's doing even more so is not honoring yourself, not honoring that inner voice that is saying, no, this is not right. And when we do honor it, like you're speaking, it actually uncovers something else. So what was the red flag? There's something more to that that speaks to the healing that you're talking about. And there's always opportunities to heal. Always, always, always.
And if you don't honor it, if you do get onto it in a big way and you say, well, that's going to be too messy, I'm not going to do that, nothing is going to flow, because you've now dishonored yourself and disempowered yourself. So it's going to just steamroll. And then you're going to wake up, whenever you wake up, and go, oh my gosh, how did I get here? Or it's
Just
just
adding layer upon layer upon layer. And then
right.
you have more to pull off of yourself in order to get to your true self of
Yeah.
really what are you feeling. Uh,
And
so I think
it doesn't mean that uh, you know, there's something wrong with the guy that you were going to marry.
mhm,
Um, it's just not right for you. It's not a good fit. So if
mhm,
it's not a good fit, it's not going to work.
mhm,
And it's, it's they're allowed to have feelings. Of course, the guy standing there is, you know, the runaway bride. She takes off and she runs, you know, off. And, you know, of course he's going to have feelings of anger and resentment. Like, why didn't you tell me sooner? You know, and that's all valid. He's allowed to have those feelings. He's entitled to those feelings, but better now, better
Mhm.
now when those feelings are like, let's just say at a scale of 1 to 10, you know, that it's not that simple, but those feelings are at a 3. But if you've then there's chaos and there's steamrolling and there's a messy marriage or whatever, and then 10 years later you say it and there's been a whole lot of mess created, that's going to be up to a 10. That 3 is now a 10, and they're going to look back and go, what just, you know, what was my life? What was going on with my life? So while it feels last minute, and it may be, it's always better when you get onto it. We miss it. We miss those red flags. We miss those signs, or we don't want to see them because it's uncomfortable, because it will be messy, because someone's going to be mad at us or disappointed in us. But so much better to
Mhm.
tackle it when you do wake up, even if it's the last minute.
And I think what you're uncovering in this is that it's having an effect on the other person. Yes, they'll be mad and so forth, but what is it? What is the side of, like you're saying, of staying in like a marriage that isn't good? It has an effect on the other person. So when we aren't honest with ourselves and making choices that are the best and the highest for ourselves, it actually is affecting those around us. Our energy is affecting their energy.
Yeah.
So it's almost like in a tough love kind of way, when we hold our line and set our boundaries and do what is right for us, we're actually in such a loving way doing what's right for another person, affecting that person. Of course, that person has their own choices.
Yeah. Well, that's tough love sometimes. We're not doing it to be cruel or you know, to undermine or you know, selfish. It's but it can look like some tough love for the other person, for the other people, whatever it is. But your actions, you're absolutely right, are going to affect their actions. And
Mhm.
so maybe they knew deep down it wasn't right. You know,
Mhm.
maybe they couldn't come to the truth about it. What, maybe there's other reasons, but when you say no, when you stand in your power and say, I'm sorry, this is not a good fit, this is not a good match, we're not a good fit, and it's on the 11th hour, people start to scramble. But when the dust settles, you
Mhm.
you know, what did I just now go through because of that? And how is that, you know, how was there healing in there for me? And I just want to say, not to bring in any sort of feeling bad about this if people don't see the red flags or don't get onto it at the 11th hour, um or soon after, because when we have to have compassion. We just may not be ready to see those red flags, or we may not, we may not know what they even look like, and then we start to learn. And I've had so many clients say, well, why, I should have done it back then. I knew I should have done it back then. Or if I did this so many years ago, I'd be so much better off. And one, our higher self is always working. We have to be ready to face what it is we need to face. And there's other lessons for us to learn why we didn't do it. So if we want to start incorporating, to try and get to know we get to know ourselves, so we even know what we want and what's right for us. And then secondly, we have compassion. So we may not do it the first 5 times. We may go across that 11th hour, and then it's like 6 o'clock and we're like, oh shit, now I see it. But each time you get closer and closer. So then you get close, and then you do it at the 11th hour, and then maybe you do it, at the 3 o'clock before. You see it sooner. But that comes from learning and
Mhm.
experiencing and whizzing past the 11th hour in order to get to be able to do that. So, but it's never too late.
It's never too
Never
late.
too late to heal.
And I think you're speaking so much to self-love and no judgment, to give ourselves compassion, to be gentle with ourselves, to
Boy.
allow ourselves to make changes, to see things differently. We're not powerless. We have the power of how we're going to respond, of how we're going to perceive things. We each are our own vessel. We're each our own soul, making choices for ourselves. But to give that self-love, knowing that that there is that we're honoring ourselves, and then it can play out, and it opens up other choices. It opens up choices for us because we've severed something, or we've put boundaries or blocks, and then it opens up opportunities for the others, because what we do for ourselves automatically affects the energy of those around us. It just has to. We're so connected energetically.
Yeah. And that self-love involves knowing we're doing the best we can. We did the best we can. And that's important. And to look at people who can only do things in a certain way because it's too painful not to do it in another way. They're doing the best they can in that moment. And while you might think they could do better, or you might want something different, they're doing the best they can in that moment. Because if they could do different or could do better, they would do better. If they knew better, they would do better. And some people who cannot know themselves in that way. Some people don't have the brain ability. There's people out there who are narcissistic, who are even psychopathic, who can only wrestle and draw within the lines of what they are given, their framework. And are they doing the best they can? Yeah, they are, but we don't allow them to connect with us and into our life to hurt us, because they do wind up hurting a lot of people. But other than people who are like that, the people who have the capacity, who have the heart, who have the desire to heal, to change, to do better, to know better, can start anywhere. You can start today. You can start with baby steps. You can start to say, how did I get here? Who am I really? And what steps can I take to get myself out of this situation, to do better and to know better? And it will be shown to you. It will be given to you.
You're
promise.
reminding me so much about how the past doesn't have to define the future. Like we can change things. So maybe I made mistakes in the past and made choices that I don't need to keep repeating, that I can start something fresh and new. And the past doesn't need to define us. Our patterns and our conditionings don't need to dictate to us. We have every moment we can start fresh, with a different choice. And that is going to change. We're going to change what we're creating to go forward. And there always is a chance to choose differently, always. And when we do that, and with, from our highest way, we are surrounded with so much love around us. We have such an abundance of love streaming through from the universe, and it's supporting us. It's sustaining us. And even in the messiest of times, to allow that love just to kind of buffer us while we're going through that bumpy ride.
And if we can't feel the love because we're buried, we will. We have to have a leap of faith.
Yeah.
And I'm just, I keep thinking about people who are nearing the ends of their life. It's never too late to heal. It's never too late to take that first step. We carry it over. You and I have both received information from our guides about, what happens after we pass and what happens in the next life. And we're going to carry over what it is we didn't want to do or face or work on. And when I first heard that, I was like, well, I want to do whatever I can in this life, so I don't have to do it again, or I don't have to, revisit this. I want to, whatever it is my soul needs to grow, I want to do it as uncomfortable as it is. And so, and it doesn't matter if you're 90, 59, 20, it doesn't matter when you start. It doesn't matter how deep you're buried and whatever mess is created or that somebody created for you. You can just start by taking one step, whatever that looks like for you. And knowing that it's never too late to heal. I keep hearing that it's never too late to heal. So if something that you want deep inside of you is there, start listening and asking, how do I do this?
Beautiful, beautiful. I just feel so much love around that message. There's so much love. There's so much love streaming through around us to be our truth, to follow our deepest heart, even if it's hard or it hasn't been the path in the past, or choices. The choices are fresh. There's choice to be our true self, to be our highest self. And when we are not alone. We know that, Beth, from talking to so many on the other side. They are so much help. And we ask for help. There, we need to ask big, ask often, and we will get it in the most amazing ways. And it seems like a coincidence, like, oh my gosh, I just asked for something and a song comes on, or somebody comes in our path that's helping to move us forward in a certain way. We ask and we will receive.
Yes. And sometimes it looks like the best thing in the world, and sometimes it looks not like the best thing in the world. And it's still helping us. So we don't know how it's going to show up for us, because if we feel like that we've lived a less than an optimal life, or we've done things to hurt other people, and we start to share about that experience or come forward with information that we have, we might undergo some hard times. We're going to be upset with us, or we might realize that we have now all this grief and anger and shame about what's gone on. So it may not look so peachy, keen, but it's a step. It's a step forward. And here's the best thing about it. Okay. And I had, during my out-of-body experience, the most incredible awareness around judgment. And even though we might feel like crap, like we're in such shame for what we've done, we are in pain for our pain and how we've hurt others, there is no judgment. And I heard that, and in my connection, when I left my body spontaneously 5 years ago, and there was a video on that if anyone wants to check it out, and it was most incredible. And what I heard was, we don't care if you do it or not. You and I are suggesting to people to do it so they don't have to come back and do it again. But whoever you think is judging you, whether it's a God or the universe or, your sister or whoever it is, there is no judgment. It's a thing that's made up from people on earth. Some people made it up to keep people in line or control or whatever it is, but there is no judgment. And when you pass on from this life, there's no judgment for what you've done. There's healing methods that you will be feeling what it is, the pain, if you even had others incurred, but it's loving. It's done in a loving way. There is no judgment. And so when you're talking about choices, whatever it is that comes up, or that you take a step forward about, or that you honor yourself with, or make the changes you make, whatever that entails, there's no judgment. And they're also, what they told me is highly related to this is there's no mistakes.
Mhm.
So you have all these ideas in your head about what you've done wrong and who you've hurt, and there's no mistakes. There's learning, there's soul growth, but no mistakes. So when you do go to the other side and you watch the movie of what you've done in this life and you feel the pain of what you've caused other people, it's not a mistake, it's a learning.
Mhm.
So when you do come back, and you will, you will experience it differently. So it's
Mhm.
all, it's even then, it's not too late for healing, even if you do wait till you cross over, till you leave this body and leave this earth. But what you and I, our message that we wanted to share today is that it's really, no matter what, it's not too late. Why not start today? Get
Mhm.
out of that closet. Tell somebody what you've done. Unearth that shame. Shame just resides in silence. Um, unleash that anger in a healthy way, not in a hurtful way, and start honoring yourself, no
Mhm.
matter what hour it is.
Mhm. And surround yourself with the abundance of love. And we surround you, each of you out there and ourselves, with an abundance of love to do what is in our highest truth, in our highest way, without judgment, to know today is a fresh day. Every day is a fresh day. And we can start anew. We can be our true self, no matter what has happened or what we think of ourselves or what we've gone through.
Yeah, absolutely. So wonderful message, and see if you could take a chance on us and what our message is and on yourself. So start today. Thank you.